Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. And today we were reviewing last night's new episode of Dark Winds. It was episode 4, and it was called Darkness Falls. And what do we have today? What do we have to talk about? Well,
The show.
wow, right away we have lots of police activity and criminal behavior, and
Well, actually, I think that this episode's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Like, even though there's quite a few scenes, it's basically just 3 little things happen. This has probably been the episode in the season where the least amount of stuff has happened. It's just been, or I guess, I don't know.
how can you even say that?
Well, especially with Emanuelita, I mean, her story is, she, like, talks to guys and then has sex with one of them. Like, that's her story this episode. Spoiler alert. And so why don't we jump to just the worst story and get that over with, the whole one with Emanuelita.
Well, we have to say why. Remember last week when they had gone to that, what was it supposed to be, a pepper farm?
So I just said Emanuelita storyline.
Yeah, I know, but this starts with it, and they find her picture in the empty barn, and this is a very official picture of her in her border patrol uniform.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, that is the official photograph on file, and the only way that could have been there was if somebody in her office is working for the bad guys. And so, who would that be?
Well, immediately I knew who it is. Or I know who it is. And it's obviously that new guy that she's hooking up with, that they have no chemistry. Because that's the very cliche thing to happen. It wouldn't be the girl, because this is a modern show. They're not going to have a female villain. Especially in this show where, the last season they did have a female villain and she just got to walk off into the sunset, and then they had another character who abandoned her child and they made it look like she was a good person, and so it's not going to be a woman. So of course it's the man, it's one of the men, and it's the guy that she's hooking up with. And this is what we've seen in all these movies and shows. And they even talk about this with true crime cases too, like who is someone killed by, who is someone kidnapped by. It's usually by someone that they know. And so in this case, he's getting friendly with her, not because he's attracted to her, but because he can keep tabs on her and whatnot. That's what I think is going on. I think it's very straightforward. I could be wrong, though. They could go, oh, well, the boss is the bad guy, and that would still be kind of cliche. But, Safi...
Well, I don't think he's the bad guy. I just think he's a loser.
Well,
he doesn't want to do anything. But what does he do all day?
Who?
Every day. Their boss.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. No. I didn't say I thought it was him. I say I think it's the boyfriend, I guess you call him now. The boyfriend guy that she... I don't know, very, very bizarre. It's kind of like what she's doing with that guy. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant and they don't have anything that you want to eat there. And so you're like, okay, I guess I'll get whatever on the menu. Like, that's basically what she's doing. It's like a musical chair dating, where it's like, because he's a guy that's there, she's going to date him now. Even though she doesn't really care about him or anything. And that's such a cliche thing to happen. And I just find it, like, so ironic, because they had the chance to do that last season with that stupid teacher person, or she wasn't even a teacher, that stupid journalist character with Jim Chi, and they didn't.
And in the books they did.
But now... you have Emanuelita, who is like anti-romance because she's so stern and stubborn and dumb, and she's got to hook up with this random guy. It's like, how does that make any sense? Like, that Jim Chi didn't get any action last season with that female character he's with in the book, but then in this season, she's hooking up with this guy who they have no chemistry. Their characters aren't anything alike. It's really weird. Safi liked it, though.
No, I didn't. To compound and make matters worse, you know who found the photograph? It was Jim Chi, because it was found up north. And so he comes and he drives, by what she said, at least 8 hours to go talk to her about this. But he's not dressed as a uniform. He's dressed in his street clothes. And so he comes to visit her, and you can tell they have an instant chemistry right away, more than what I saw in the previous 2 seasons. And and so anyway, he asks her after they talk, and he tells her, you know, and he'd already warned her on the phone that that photograph had to be given to these people and these drug people by someone in their office. So he warned her and she recognizes the warning, and so he talks about all the people involved, and they just go on and on about the case, and then he says, "Why don't you? This reminds me of the old times. Why don't you come back home?"
No, but before that happens, and we'll have to go through that a little bit more in detail, because the way that it happens is very weird. But they have now changed the story, or I guess they've gone off to another angle where the story is about drugs rather than human trafficking. Or at least, I mean, they didn't even mention anything about human trafficking in this episode. They're now saying that Spencer is he's distributing drugs or whatever in the oil tankers.
Like not every oil tanker, like every other oil tanker or something.
Yeah. And it's well, what about the human trafficking thing? What's up with that? Like, they didn't even talk about it.
And that was a whole episode plus that they devoted to that.
That's been the whole show so far, is human trafficking, and so... But just the fact that they didn't even mention it at all, like, she didn't even say, I think there's human trafficking going on because blah, 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 like, there is no discussion about it, even though it's, like, blatantly obvious. And then, as per the thing that Safi talked about, Jim Chi stays with Emanuelita. He stays on the couch, and he gets up in the middle of the night, he goes in her room, and he sits on the bed with her, and he's like, you need to come home because this isn't your character, and Safi and Marco were right, and you shouldn't have left the show for no reason, and she even says, like, he's even like, why are you here? And she's like, I don't know. And it's like, yeah, I know, because it's like, yeah, the writers put her there.
She said, I'm making something of myself, and he goes, amongst a nest of vipers, because of the way things are there, and everything for her is an uphill battle, and then they have this person in the office who's spying on her. Yeah. And, I mean, and it was valid. The questions he was asking were valid. And so he's like, he just doesn't, she's stubborn, and he knows that, so he just leaves.
So what does she do? She's like, nah! She basically acts like a child. She does something very childish. She leaves her apartment and she goes over to that guy's apartment, and then they go in there and they hook up, and so it's like she did that on purpose to spite Jim Chi,
which is stupid.
Which is like a typical modern female thing to do.
And I don't think
it's like treating sexual activity like it's like to use it against men, like emotionally and all that stuff. And like you saw it in Hannibal, you remember in season 2 when Will was in prison or in the asylum, and that bitch, she was like, oh, well, you think Hannibal's a killer? well, fuck you, and also I'm gonna start sleeping with Hannibal on purpose to make you feel bad. And it's like, why do they think that we're gonna like these female characters that do stuff like this? Like, she hasn't done that like directly to Jim Chi yet. Like, she didn't say, "Guess where I was last night," but that's the vibe that I got, is this very like immature modern female thing to do. And I think that it's even worse because it's like, I don't think that Emmanuel Lita would do something like that.
No, and it's also, I think it's antithetical to her culture. She likes
she's
being back on the reservation.
She's
she
a
likes
slut.
Her job.
She's a total slut now, Safi.
Well,
You can't defend that.
Well, I don't like it. But I can't. Marco thinks, well, he's
We
got his
need to-
opinion. I'm
well-
wondering if she, but I don't know. It seems more of what Marco was saying, but I was wondering if she was doing that because she suspects him.
No.
And so, but
Why would
I
she
don't
do
know.
that, Safi? That would be even worse, but it would be in line with her stupid character. And
The reason
but
why
we
I
need
ask
to-
that is because she's made so many stupid decisions.
Well,
the
yeah,
whole, the whole
besides
season.
that, we need to bring back slut shaming. We need to bring back shaming of women who do
Marco!
who do this kind of stuff. Because I mean, it just, why would you want to have a female character like this on a TV show? That's like, oh, that guy that I'm supposed to be with and like we're perfect together. Like, oh well, he called me out on something bad that I'm doing, and so instead of like taking it like an adult, I'm gonna go sleep with someone who is like, it's so gross. Like, her character is so gross. Like Emmanuel Lita.
Well,
Like, I would never like her character again after this episode because she's just such a gross person. Like, if a guy did that on a show, all the women would be complaining. And they'd all say, like, oh my god, he's such a terrible person. He's so childish and immature. He's such a player or whatever. And it's like, well, because a female character does it, it's okay. Apparently.
That's weird. But,
what do you think, Safi?
I agree with Marco, but on certain things, but I guess we'll just have to see how it plays out. But she's made so many bad decisions. Like, we even saw on almost every episode they show scenes from next week, and they showed. I didn't pay too much attention because I kind of wanted to watch it again a couple of times, but so I just kind of flipped through it, but. There was one scene where she's with that guy in the office, and they're on a mission, or what do you want to call it, surveillance, or whatever you want to call it, and they're so obvious about what they're doing that they're like, they have targets on their backs, and the whole season. One, she hasn't learned how to speak Spanish. She speaks less Spanish than I do. And that, to me, that's totally unrealistic. Then, like at least twice or more, she's been on a surveillance mission. Or, I'm probably saying this wrong. And she's so exposed that anybody, and she could have gotten herself killed. Or whatever.
Yeah, they show her and him. I don't know why Safi just jumped in to basically repeat something that I said.
Well, I know that, but I just don't. Her decision making is so flawed this season.
They're standing on a mountain together, and
this is for next season.
They're doing the same thing. And Safi's not even letting me finish what she copied off of me before the video started. But they're standing on a mountain together, and they're huddled up together, and they're just so obviously like hiding and just like, or spying, whatever, and it's just so cringeworthy. Like, oh, now her and the boy toy are gonna go on missions together. It's like, fuck this show. Like, fuck this bitch. Fuck the show. Like, why? Nobody wants to see a female character like this in a TV show. Like, nobody wants to see like a slut character like this. Like, we want to see like decent women, you know, like back in the the 50s and 60s, you know,
Oh
like in the
my
movies and shows.
God.
Like, we want to go back to decency.
Jesus Christ.
Because this show takes place in the 70s, and
Yeah,
it's like
early 70s.
we
We
don't-
said it too.
we don't want slut Emanuelita. In fact, why don't you kill off Emanuelita and then bring back a different character with the same actress, and she can be the new Emanuelita who isn't a slut. And then I'll like to see that character, because this character is beyond redemption.
Oh, Marco.
It's gross.
Okay,
It's like,
well, let's-
I don't want to see her going on missions with the boy toy guy who no one cares about. Like, it's so stupid. It's like, nobody wanted this in season 4. Or what is this, season 3? Nobody wanted this. Like, who asked for this? Who looked at season 2 and said, hey, I'd love to see Emanuelita go somewhere else and get into a relationship with a guy,
That she doesn't care anything about.
a random guy, and then go on missions with him. It's like, fuck this.
And he could be spying on her.
Yeah.
We don't know that for a fact, but it comes up in other similar shows and movies, and so it happens so often that you kind of suspect that. Okay, we should talk about the other couple things.
It's just, that was so bad, Safi. I mean, it's like, they really ruined her character.
Well, I don't know what's going on. It's just so odd.
Yeah.
And because she is a strong character, but she's
Not anymore.
She's not in this. In this season, she just doesn't. Her decision making is so flawed.
Everything she does.
Everything she does.
Everything she does revolves around men. Like, every single thing that she does. Not one thing that she does on this show is because she wants to do it herself. Or it's because of something that she wants. It's all about men for her. And that really isn't her character, and it's never been her character. But that's her whole character this season. Like, every single thing that she does. Don't you agree with that, Safi? I mean, you
so.
admit it.
I just think everything, her police work, more than once,
Or lack
is
thereof.
sloppy. Her relationship, whatever you want to call it, struggles, is sloppy. Yeah, I mean, it's
Her
just,
struggle.
I don't get it. I don't understand. But anyway, let's move on
Okay.
to Joe.
Now you can
Now,
talk
we
about
have a
this.
Joe thing where, you know, what happened last season, and that's haunts him now. And the FBI agent is being, actually, you know, it's so funny. I told Marco, I never watched that show, but, you know, they would show scenes from it on TV, Friends. And this FBI agent actress from Friends, she always was dizzy and goofy and smiley, and I think she's the one that had a hand in starting that Ancestry show or promoting it, which that was a really good thing. But she's very dogged about this case with J.D. Vines and what happened to him.
Safi, his name is B.J. Vines.
B.J. Vines. I keep thinking of somebody else for some reason. And she just goes on and on. Now she's questioning everybody.
She's kind of like an NPC. She just, like, repeats the same bullshit over and over again. Like, she's not even really a character. She's just kind of like an NPC who's questioning, like, Joe. In fact, I think, because I can't see how this storyline's going to be resolved.
I don't either.
So I think the best thing to do would be to reveal that she herself is a hallucination. And, and the whole investigation was all hallucination. Because there's no other way out of this that's going to be that's going to be solvable for him as a character. Like, the whole thing with his wife, too, like, that whole shitty-ass shit. Like, the best thing for it to happen would be, she doesn't actually exist, she's a ghost, and then...
well, the thing with...
he just has to live with it.
Doggedly going after this one particular case, and why. Because all throughout the books,
She acts like he killed the president or something.
yeah, I know, and I don't get it. If it was an FBI agent that he killed, I could see it. But in all the books, they never really cared that much. They were sloppy because they don't like being there. They feel like they've been placed in this post that's out of the way, and it's not fun. I don't know. They just don't like it, and it's been like that. And you've got to think that Tony Hillerman and even his daughter would not have acted like that in the books if there wasn't some truth to the case. Because, like I said, when we were doing research in Tanzania, they referred to that place as a quote hardship post. And the diplomatic corps did not really care about being there. They did not like it that much. And it was kind of like a lower post. So if they could move somewhere else, let's say to Paris or something, that would be going up in the world. So this is kind of like that for the FBI. And so you've got this woman, and she's really good going after this case. She did this one interview, and she asked Joe to interpret. Now, in reality, he is not a Navajo. And what he had to do was interview this Navajo sheep herder who saw the vehicle who dropped BJ, or whatever his name is, Vines, off. And so he had to learn all these questions and all the answers that were given in Navajo, because the sheep herder was a Navajo, a real one. And I thought that was pretty, that took a lot of work to learn that. For the part, I'm just talking about the acting. And so, that's hard. And the Navajo guy, I think he didn't give anything away that it was Joe or anything, except that he said the vehicle that he saw was a GMC. And they go on, the FBI agent looks to see how many GMCs are in Arizona, how many are in the county, how many.
She says only one of those trucks is driven by a man.
Whose son was killed by the Vines guy. So, what she's implying. Trying to get at. I'm like, why does she care?
I don't know.
It drives me crazy. And then you have the other part to Joe, where his wife is furious that he did that. And what he did was, he left him there. He didn't shoot him. He didn't punch him out. He didn't knife him. He didn't beat his face in. He left him there in the desert, and he died.
Yeah, he confesses that to Emma. I thought that was a good scene at first, but then Emma acts like he killed him, which honestly, I wouldn't even count that as killing him, because what if, like, you picked up a hitchhiker and you drove to the middle of nowhere and they said, okay, I want you to let me out here, and then you let that person out and then they die somehow in the middle of nowhere. Like, you're not responsible. And, like, yeah, even though he did take him there to try to kill him, he didn't end up killing him. He left him there. So and his wife acts like he really did something really bad.
That never happened in the book.
She yells at him.
Was like that.
And they have this big fight, and it's like, this is so modern.
And she said, she goes, I don't even know if I can, in so many words, I don't think I can forgive this.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
It's like, yeah, fuck you.
That never
fuck
happened.
you too.
It never happened in the books.
Like,
ever.
What is she gonna leave now too and be on the border patrol now?
And she's
like,
a real Navajo.
It's like,
too.
fuck you. Like,
she's
fuck.
one of the few real Navajo on the show.
Fuck this character now too, because this is just another modern thing that they would do, because they don't want to have a straight relationship. They don't want to have men and women happy together. They have to basically put a rift between men and women and make them divided, and have it be where it's like, no, there can never be a happy marriage, or at least one where it's like there's problems, but it's like, no, there's going to have to be drama now, and she's going to leave probably. And it's like, this is just stupid. Like, this is, to me, it's like overkill, and it's very modern. It's not. I don't think it would have ever happened in the books. Even if he did kill someone in the books.
No.
Even if all that other stuff happened, I don't think that she would react how she reacted.
No. And she, as you all remember reading the books, later on in the books, see this, remember, this is a combination of the book 2 and like a book 14 or something like that. So you've got this disparity, but she gets, what is she? She either has a brain tumor or she has Alzheimer's. I can't remember. And as far as having negative behavior, it's associated with being ill. And it's not that kind of negative behavior. So I guess they could, and they ought to show that because that happens to so many people in reality. So anyway, it doesn't matter whether they're novel or not. But
God, Safi.
anyway, then we have to talk about, then one more, well, there are a couple things with this guy who was kind of the head of the pepper farm. You know, he burned and exploded the red truck because they caught him and he got away and got the red truck and blew up. And he had another vehicle, drove off in that. Well, anyway, Joe catches him, puts him in jail. And so he decided, and after they have this, after he has this fight with his wife, or whatever you want to call it, he decides he's going to pull an all-nighter and work the night shift, and sends the other guy there. And the bad guy, the drug guy from the pepper farm, he's in jail. And so the lights, they're having all throughout the episode too. There's been this thing. I don't know if it was supposed to be symbolic of something.
No, I think what happened. What happened was they showed the blonde girl in the hospital, and she didn't really have anything worthwhile to say in this episode. But I know that's a mean thing to say.
Well, she said, but she told where the guy probably was staying. Remember? And that's how they found him.
Yeah, but look, Joe was talking to her, and the light in her room kept flickering and flickering to where he eventually turned it off. Maybe I was distracted by the light, and I didn't hear, because I thought all she did was talk about how I saw the afterlife. Like, I think she said that at first. Didn't she? Or was that like a complete misunderstanding?
I don't know. She did say she saw something, but
I thought that
I didn't really.
Because
it was kind of vague.
Because she almost died or something, that she saw that, and then she talked about the guy. But the light flickering, I think, was a fake foreshadowing. I think that they wanted you to think that they would attack her in the hospital and kill her. But no. The light flickering in the police station symbolized that, it's going to happen here, and there's going to be an attack here. And then all the lights go out, and of course you know what's going to happen. I mean, you know this guy's going to die because he wanted a deal. He said he'll say everything if he gets immunity from drug charges.
Right.
Doesn't mention anything about human trafficking.
Nope.
And
well, he just said. He made it sound like there were other things that were going on, but the drug charges, he wanted immunity from that. I'm like, he would be bad about all of it and not just the drug charges.
So Joe goes out to check the fuse box, and what do you know?
He hears a yell.
The pepper farm guy gets his throat slit, and Joe comes back in and gets covered in blood. And see, Safi doesn't agree with me, but I thought that maybe what they're going to do is they're going to think that Joe killed him.
I don't think so.
Because...
Why? What would be the motive?
I don't know, because he killed BJ. I don't. That's what the FBI woman might think. Like, she might be like,
she's an idiot.
This is very convenient. You guys were alone together, and he's now dead. I wonder what really happened. You know, like...
I could see her saying that, too.
Because she's such an NPC, you know? It's like... She'd be better off. It's like, what was her? What was she? Oh, she was a dream. It was all a dream with her. It was Joe falling asleep in his car, in his truck, and it's like, ooh, I woke up finally because I'm Joe Sleephorn. Ooh, that woman was all a dream. Just like this whole season, because Emmanuel Eda sucks now.
Which is terrible. And the way she was with Jim Chi, I mean, he loves her, and I think she loves him. That's what I'm saying. I know that probably Marco doesn't care about care for that kind of stuff, but the other 2 seasons I didn't think that. I didn't have any feeling like that, but this time it's different, and that's why it drives me nuts that they've had her make all these crappy decisions. I mean, not just about her love life or personal life, but about her career, not speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
And she thinks she's going to go somewhere in this area, in this part of this part of law enforcement. No, she's not. And and then all the investigative blunders are crappy. It drives me crazy because it makes her look weak. And so now the love thing makes her look weak. Although, it seems like, and is she really that stupid that she would trust him? Or is she just, I don't know, is she really trying to get back at Chi or show him something about her something? I just don't know, but it's a negative thing. Whatever it is, whatever the reason, it's negative. And it makes her look bad, and makes her look weak. And why would you, here they are, and, I guess I can understand the Emma thing a little bit, but that never happened in the books. But I mean, for real, like in a modern thing, but I don't even know if that would be a Navajo thing. I have a feeling it wouldn't be, for her to be like that. I don't think it would be. I mean, I'm not some Navajo specialist, but it's just a feeling I have. So, but anyway, that's what happened, and that's what we ended up with.
What would you rate this episode, Safi, overall?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I give it a B.
I'll give it a C, because I don't see anything that warrants it getting a B.
Well,
in the episode.
I like Jim Chi coming down there, but I just don't like what Emanuelita did.
Yeah.
And I don't like
either.
what Emma did. And I really loved the work that the actor who played Joe Leaport, I know he's also a producer on the show, but the work that he did with the language. I mean, that is like one of the most difficult languages. And they have, despite the government wanting to scrub the defense website of Navajo code talkers who played an extremely vital role in the success of the American success in World War II.
Really?
That language, the Japanese, they couldn't figure it out. Nobody could figure out what they were saying. And they had those Navajo code talkers who helped with the war effort, and they were integral to the success of the Americans and the rest of the world against the Japanese incursion into the Pacific. And so anyway, it's a very difficult language, and he is not Navajo. And so, I mean, he had to learn all of that stuff, and just, even though, they know the lines, they've memorized a dialogue, and of course the Navajo guy, of course, had to know what was going on too, because he had to know what was going to have to be said. And I thought that was really very expert. I really liked it. And that guy, he's not totally young. So, and I don't know what language he speaks. I don't remember the Native American group he's from, but anyway, I just thought that was really good. And I thought there was kind of a lot of action. Another thing too, the police, the sheriff guy that Joe works with all the time, that wasn't in the books either. I mean, it may have been somewhat, but not as much as in what they're doing. And I guess that's a good thing. I don't know, but that never happened either. But it used to, and Jim, he's off seeing Emanuelita, so he's not there. But they've been going out and doing cases together, he and that guy, and doing all this work, investigative work, and
I think what they need to do is they need to have more bro stuff with Joe and Jim.
Well, that's what they did.
Because I assume that that's what it would be like from the books and everything. It's like, because in this season, it's been a lot of Joe and that other guy.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like the show should lean into more of like a bro Joe and bro Jim.
I don't know. Well,
And then Emanuelita's just all by herself because she's strong and independent. Except now
she's not.
Not anymore. Now she needs a man.
Well, I can't wait
That's
to
all
see
she needs.
what happens with that. Is that guy spying on her? Which there's a huge probability that could be the case. Does she suspect him? Yes, that could be the case. Is she making a mistake and because she doesn't care about him, it's fake. It's not real. It's like she's trying to prove herself to be something she's not. And well, I want to see how it all turns out with that. I can't imagine they drag this out into the next season.
No.
I would think it'd be resolved by the end of this season.
It'll have to be.
And the FBI agent and all that, and Emma, that whole thing, what's that? How's that going to end up?
Yeah, how's that going to be resolved? I mean, because she doesn't have any actual evidence against him.
Nope.
Against Joe, so there really is nothing that's going to come from that.
I just don't know understand what her motive is.
Except for Emma, because now Emma knows what really happened. She's now going to be a bitch, and
I don't think that would ever happen.
The only thing that I could see happening is her telling the FBI agent everything, and then that would be the only way that she could prove that it was Joe. The only way. So if they do that, then Safi's probably going to divorce the show because she's going to be like, no, this is not the books.
I don't believe it. I just, Ann Hillerman, and she didn't write these early books. Her dad did. She's written later ones with Emanuelita and Jim. Okay? And she focused more on Emanuelita. And I cannot imagine, she's one of the producers of the show, how she could be on board with them turning her into a inept, incompetent police officer and pretending like she's not Navajo and she doesn't care about her, where she used to live or her culture or Jim, who's Navajo, and she's Navajo. I just don't believe it. I just don't see how she could be on board with that. So
you notice too that with Joe and Emma's relationship, all that they have done with those characters in terms of their relationship is find ways to cause a rift between them.
Yeah, even the last season.
Even season 1, you had the thing with the death of their son.
Yeah.
In the flashbacks, and that caused a big divide between them. You had the thing last season where that stupid story with the abortions or whatever that never went anywhere. And now this season you have him having killed that guy. So it's like all the writers want to do is force these people apart. And it's like, why is that? Is that because of modern agendas?
Which doesn't make any sense. They can be they're still Navajo to the core.
Like, I think that Kingpin and Vanessa on Daredevil have more... they have a better relationship than this.
And see, we're reviewing that too. So it's kind of like a dichotomy or something between the two shows. So anyway, that's it. There's nothing more to say. We'll just have to see what happens. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think should happen? What do you think about Emanuelita's character? And what do you think about Joe and Emma and what's going on with them and how is that going to be resolved? Just everything that we talked about. What do you think? What are your thoughts? So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our almost 700 subscribers. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.